Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Hey, ho, ho! Carol Cry says got to go!
Hey, ho, ho! Carol Cry says got to go!
Hey, ho, ho! Dan Mogoff, you got to go!
Hey, ho, ho!
Dan Mogoff's got to go!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Brick by brick, wall by wall!
Brick by brick, wall by wall!
The occupation has got to fall!
The occupation has got to fall!
Brick by brick, wall by wall!
Brick by brick, wall by wall!
This occupation has got to fall!
This occupation has got to fall!
Intifada! Intifada!
Intifada! Intifada!
Long live the Intifada!
Long live the Intifada!
I want to take this moment to acknowledge that we have a former IDF soldier in the crowd. His name is Dan Mogoff, and he is a part of this administration. I learned recently, and he's walking away right now,
Bye, Dan!
that at the last negotiations meeting, the negotiations team on the administrative side, never mind. I just want to say, Dan Mogoff, fuck you.
Fuck you, Dan!
I'm glad you walked away. Fuck you, Dan Mogoff. Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
These things don't come in a vacuum. This anger does not happen in a vacuum. Targeting people for what they have done is not happening in a vacuum. The IDF, the Israeli occupation forces, we have seen them day in and day out commit the most heinous crimes against our people, dehumanizing the Palestinian people, and ask us to sit there and have dialogue and quiet and be civil. The demand for civility, the demand for nuance, the demand for engagement and dialogue falls when you see pictures of our babies crushed under the rubble. It falls when you see a mother having to identify her child through their clothes. It falls when a father has to realize that he is the only person left of his family. This anger does not happen in a vacuum. It happens because there is a series of things consistently that creates both this rage and this fury and this grief. And one has to go between rage and grief, and then has to pause and think about their day and how they can go about their day, and then go back to rage, grief, pause. Rage, grief, pause. This is not a vacuum. And institutions and systems that flatten these emotions, that flatten us into numbers and statistics and papers, and demand civility and demand respect, and behind these hollow, shallow words are not making room for the history, for the weight of the grief, the sorrow, the anger. With that, I'd like you all to help me welcome Professor Samra Ismer, who has been a rock for the Palestinian movement here on campus, and who has been a rock for the Palestinian movement for decades.
Thank you, Benan. Thank you, everyone for being here today. I'm in awe of our students, of this movement, of the encampment, of all the encampments across the earth. I'm inspired. I know many of us here from the older generation are inspired and have learned so much from your organization. I have been accompanying the negotiations team over the past 10 days, and I have learned so much, even though I have been organizing for Palestine really since I was 15 back in Palestine. I was born in Palestine, in Haifa. My parents were born in Kufur Biraim, a village in the Galilee. It was destroyed. The Zionist forces destroyed it expelled the people of Berkeley and set settlements on the land of the village. Berkeley was one of more than 400 villages that were destroyed and depopulated in 1948 and 1949 actually as well. We inherited, my generation inherited the collective experience of my parents and grandparents. We knew that the catastrophe, that hit the Nakba, that hit the Palestinian people in 1948 would repeat. We lived knowing that this was not a past, that this would come again. And it came again in 1967, and it came again in 2023 in Gaza. But in between, there were so many numerous episodes of occupation, dispossession, depopulation, imposed poverty, starvation, imprisonment. This has never ceased. It's been happening since 1948, perhaps in a slower pace, more systematic, more bureaucratized, more legalized pace. So today, as you gather with us today, at this Free Palestine commencement, we announce that we take part in the struggle of the Palestinian people for liberation. This struggle has never ceased, despite the fragmentation of the Palestinians into many geographies, into many populations, citizens, residents, refugees, subjects. The Palestinian people, since 1948, have been engaged in a struggle to collectivize themselves, to keep themselves a collectivity. It has not been easy. Colonial power, Israel's colonial power, operated by fragmentation. But we understood that despite the differences in geographies, despite the differences in regimes of power that were inflicted on us, or that were exercised upon us, we had to remain steadfast in our struggle, steadfast in maintaining the Palestinian people. Many movements started over the years, from Harkat al-Ard in the Galilee in the areas of Palestine occupied in 1948, to the Land Day in the Galilee, to the First Intifada, to the Second Intifada, to the Unity Intifada of 2021, to the armed resistance taking place in the West Bank and Gaza against Israeli occupation. At one point, BDS came along. BDS came along as a tool of the liberation struggle. It was not the only tool, it was one tool. And despite the fact that BDS is a sort of adopts a liberal toolkit, it was always in excess of its demands. It was always in excess of boycott, divestment, and sanctions, because it belonged to a larger liberation struggle. Therefore, we understand today that when we say disclose, divest, we're not saying just show us your papers and divest and sell your shares. We're saying disavow your complicity with settler colonialism. Disavow your complicity with genocide. When we say disclose, divest, we are saying distance yourself from a country, from a state that is entangled with imperial powers. We're saying we refuse complicity with that power. You're saying that this is the chance of all encampments. Disclose, divest is also a chant. It's a chant. It's not a polite speech act. It's a chant. It comes out of rage. There are movements behind it. It can never be understood as civilized, polite action. BDS was a call for everyone. to join in solidarity with the Palestinian liberation struggle. You've responded to this call. You've tied your lives, your everyday lives, to that struggle. This encampment is evidence to this response. But there have been many actions before this encampment and many actions that will commence after this encampment. But perhaps the most amazing, for me at least personally, achievement of this encampment and all the encampments around us in the United States and elsewhere in the world is that it undid something that happened to the Palestinians since 1948. The earth in 1948 closed on the Palestinians. You have opened it up. You have made Palestinians part of this world. Mahmoud Darwish in 1982, when the PLO and therefore the Palestinian Revolution was expelled from Lebanon, was forcibly removed, departed Lebanon, penned this poem, The Earth is Closing on Us. But today, with the encampments, you have opened the earth beyond territorial division, beyond borders that facilitate abandonment and genocide. You have made that possible. This student movement across the earth has made that possible. You have discovered in the earth solidarities, chains, bonds, tunnels, and broken fences that facilitate solidarity, that facilitate that participate in the liberation of Palestine. You have seen in the question of Palestine a larger question, for Palestine condenses so many of the cruelties of the world. But Palestine also condenses aspirations and dreams for freedom, and you have activated them, mimicked them, echoed them across the surface of the earth. This is your achievement. The wins you will make, the wins you will achieve are perhaps smaller wins for now. But if you think about them as a network of wins, you will understand that every win triggers another win. Every achievement propels another achievement. If there is an agreement here on campus, another agreement will be even better on another campus. And that is your achievement. That is your victory, because victory is not the opposite of defeat. Victory is about claiming your power and understanding the commencement of struggle that you have started a few months ago and you continue today. Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
Thank you.